Hello, I'm Nathan.
And I'm Jody, and this is Word on the Web.
And today we're going to tell you all about the Fred Awards.
Yes, this is the second annual Fred Awards. And for people who are wondering what the Fred Awards is, we created the Fred Awards last year for the first time. Yes. And it was because this incredible man, Fred Cornforth, who really supported the shelter, but also the world, he passed away. He died from a very aggressive cancer, and it was just a huge loss. But man, his legacy was huge. And like what this man did was he built affordable housing projects throughout the country. And for every one of those projects, he went and built an orphanage across the world.
It's amazing.
He didn't just do orphanages, he put health clinics up where there was no access to health. And there's this map in his office, and it was the pins where all the orphanages were. And I went to, he actually knew that he was going to pass away, and he wanted to be at his own funeral. And so he did his funeral at Boise State in the Alumni Center. And each of us received this bag of coins, and the coins represented all the different places in the world where he had actually done work. And it was just incredible.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah, it was incredible.
So we call it the Fred Awards.
Yeah.
And so yes, Fred Cornforth, but also Fred became an acronym.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Of attributes of individuals who have Fred-like qualities.
Exactly. Like, who are the Freds in our world?
Right.
And we really, like, from our point of view, because of the work we do, we felt like it was about fearlessness and resilience and empathy and being dynamic, because having those four characteristics, I think, helped Fred to do the work he did.
Yeah.
And when we look at the people that we're selecting as Freds, they really do share those same qualities.
Right.
Yeah.
So we looked at basically this acronym, these attributes, I should say. When you find those, you see that these are people who are contributing in really meaningful ways to society, to their families, to their church, to their community, whatever.
Yeah.
So, and in this case, to us.
Totally, yeah. I mean, there is, for us, the reason why we created the Fred Awards was to thank those people who have stood by our side with their boots on the ground and let us keep forging our path forward. And so this Fred Awards, pretty meaningful because the group of people really symbolize how we got so far. And so I'm really excited about it. And we're going to do it back at Treefort Music Hall on November 19th.
Okay.
And tickets are going to go on sale October 1st.
Okay.
You can,
so this week, right around the corner.
Yeah. You can sponsor a table. You can sit at the bar, which is actually this cool thing at Treefort Music Hall. There's like this rail that you can sit at, and it has a perfect view of the...
Well, it's a little elevated,
yeah.
so it puts you actually above the tables.
And at the stage level.
Yeah.
And those tickets are a little less because it's not a whole table. And then you can get individual tickets, and you can also get couple tickets that are discounted. So great event. The way it works is we start with like kind of a social hour where you can have appetizers and beverages, and then this year we're going to seat people, and then we're going to do a family style meal.
Love it.
Yeah, so there's no lines. You know, the one thing that's hard about a gala is, God, you have to stand in line for everything, or you have to wait to get your plate served and then cleared, and then it just makes the night so much longer. We're trying to be really grateful that you're there and not make it take so long to celebrate. You know?
You don't have to stand in line to check in. You don't have to stand in line for dinner. Yeah. So we're just trying to take some of that down to a more enjoyable level.
Exactly.
Love it.
And we're working with Boise State.
Yeah, family style, right?
The family style.
Let's talk about that.
They have a catering arm at Boise State called Carved and Crafted Catering. And Boise State is such an amazing partner of ours. Through our food service training program, our graduates actually get to interview with them, and several of them now work for Boise State University's food service, which is Compass. And they are so stable, they are treated so well. Almost all of them are now housed thanks to the partnership. So I'm really glad that we get to bring them into the Fred Awards.
And just the light in our rep, her eye, just to know that, you know,
Yeah.
we were in this together, that they were now providing,
Yeah,
a
we're
meal.
supporting them back.
We're supporting
Yeah,
them back. Yeah,
exactly.
it became a partnership that's very meaningful.
Yeah, yeah.
So
And then, we've got some music.
always some good music.
The director of Word on the Web, Casey Miller,
Yeah.
the guy who patiently shoots Word on
guy-
the Web
the guy behind the
every
camera.
week and says, "You're perfect. You're perfect."
Or let's do that again.
Let's do that again. Well, Casey and Bernie Riley, and some other local musicians that are unnamed at this point will be providing the music for the night. And then we're going to have the award ceremony.
So are you ready to share some
Yeah.
names of the recipients?
Yeah.
Shall we start with, because it's people who contribute and are meaningful partners with attributes, Fred attributes.
Yeah.
And we also have a guest
Yes.
of the year.
Yeah.
Should we talk guest of the year first?
Yeah, I mean, I think
We've
that...
talked about him before on this,
Yeah.
on this podcast.
Yeah,
So.
we have talked about him. And I think when you find a guest that's a Fred, you're so grateful that they have those characteristics, because that's what's going to let them make it out of their
Yeah.
homelessness and into this bright future. And the guest of the year this year is a young adult. He came to us when he was 18 years old. His name is Shiloh. And boy, has he put his head down and figured out how to thrive in an environment that's not easy to thrive in.
Right.
And so we'll tell the story about Shiloh and why he is the guest of the year, but so excited to celebrate him. He was feeling so unworthy when he found out. He has no idea how great he is.
Yeah.
And I think that comes from the fact that he is homeless at 18 and now 19 years old, that hopefully this
He doesn't
lifts him up.
He doesn't even see his own resilience, right? The R in that Fred is that resilience. He doesn't even see it in himself because he's lived in it.
and people have given up on him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, his saying is, "My greatest revenge will be my success." And I love that for him. So, yeah.
So he's enrolled in school and he's leaning into his life.
Yeah.
That's great.
College boy.
I actually saw him this morning with a fresh haircut. And
Yeah.
I thought, oh man, he just looks so sharp.
Yeah,
Anyway, yeah, we love Shiloh.
Love Shiloh.
Yeah. So
So then we
let's
have,
talk about Pastor Dwayne and the Cathedral of the Rockies.
Yeah, so this is part of the faith group that lifts us up all the time. 39 faith leaders founded us, and they still lean in and make this work happen every day with volunteer support, donations, and everything. But Pastor Dwayne and the Cathedral of the Rockies have stood beside us in such a very strong way, and they have brought me in to talk to the congregation many, many times. And they themselves raised $116,000 just by passing,
By
the
passing
plate
the plate, right? Yeah.
to help us build our new shelter. And it will be really nice to be able to thank them and to show what the power of faith can do when
Yeah.
you do it together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that Sunday that you and I attended the services in two different rooms, two different congregations, and at that point it was at 90,000, if I remember correctly,
Yeah.
right? And he said, let's take it to 100.
Yeah.
And then and then this was, I guess, the idea that I'm trying to say here is that it wasn't like, oh, let's just stop at 100, but let's do the best we can.
Well, yeah,
which was
after-
even more higher than their goal.
So after that weekend, when we did the presentation, the 94, I think, went to 116.
Yeah. Yeah.
Checks were just handed to them. And so when they did the presentation, it was above 100,000, but their goal was to raise 100,000.
Yeah.
And they exceeded it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Is just they're leaning in, and they're not going to stop at 100.
I
They're
know.
going to go not just all the way, but all the way plus some.
Yeah, it's the pastor and the congregation that has boots on the ground for
Yeah.
us. And that's, so
Yeah.
why not celebrate that?
Let's talk about Jim Rudolph. We love Jim.
What to say about Jim Rudolph? Longtime volunteer, has had some pretty significant health issues, but that does not stop him from
Right.
every week picking
Every
up
week.
the Mai Tai donation every week. and delivering it to our guests, and doing food pickups on the weekends and everything. And I think what struck me this time was that he had had a pretty major surgery, and his greatest concern was to make sure that he got coverage for that one Wednesday, but he'd be back by the next Wednesday. And I mean, it was major surgery. And I'm like, hey, slow down, boy.
You can take a break.
You can take a break. You don't need to. But by his word, he was there that next Wednesday, and he was bringing the food back. And he just does it with a smile. He asks for nothing, and he's just so loved. And so, he's such a Fred.
All of these are just
they're just such Freds. I know.
Fearless, resilient, empathetic, and dynamic in all the ways.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Bobby.
Okay.
Bobby Hansberger.
Bobby Hansberger and the Hansberger Foundation. So Bobby is pretty much hell bent on making sure that her money does good in the right places. And she is committed to saving this world as much as she can with what she has. And she is a fierce, fierce Fred. And she is one of those donors that when times get rocky and we are like, there's so many people and our operations budget is shaky, she just writes a check and says, match it. Go get the match. Without pause.
What do you need mentality.
She is a sustainer like no other, and does not want recognition. Sorry, Bobby. We're giving it to you.
There's a Fred Award
coming your way. There's a Fred Award, yep.
Okay. Well, we'll celebrate her in this podcast and that night.
Absolutely.
So, all right. So we have a great bank, but we have a great banker.
Oh, yeah.
Mike Truba.
So if you're wondering how, we have been able to continue building our shelter even with a conditional use permit being removed from us and being caught in all of these tidal waves.
Yeah. All the things that would make a banker very nervous.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It is because of Heritage Bank and Mike Truba, who led the charge. They have been relentless in keeping us in place. And other banks, I think, would have pulled our construction loan because of the instability of the story. But they just kept meeting with us and talking to us and finding a path forward with us. And it is because of that our shelter will be completed on time because we have the funds to do it. And then once everyone has the faith back in the building, back in the shelter, back in the work, it'll be easier to raise those additional $2 million to help pay back that loan.
Right.
But for now, they're just making sure it gets done.
Yeah.
It's an incredible, incredible move.
Yes. One that is, I would near unprecedented. It's so impressive. Such a great group.
We met with 16 different banks to find a bank that could do a construction loan for us. And Heritage Bank is the only one that figured out how.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
they're amazing.
So we'll celebrate Mike.
Yeah.
For the whole
and Heritage.
And Heritage.
And the team.
It takes
Dan and all of them. Yeah.
Okay. Our attorney's next on the list.
The warrior.
The warrior. Jeffrey Wardle Warrior.
Yeah. That poor man. He called one day right when we were submitting the application for the first time. And it hit the news that Interfaith was applying for a conditional use permit. And he said, I don't know if you're going to need me or not, but I happen to be a real estate attorney. So if anything goes a little sideways, I just want to let you know my services are pro bono to you. His parents had been longtime volunteers with us. And he's like, I'd like to help. Well, 5 years later.
5 years and I don't know how many unbilled hours.
Oh, my God. I can't even imagine. And this fight has become his fight. And it's not a fight. It is the right thing to do, but it has turned into head down, get through the next hurdle, and you need to be very intelligent to be able to navigate the systems, the city government, the state government, the judicial system. All of it has hit us, and man, he has navigated.
When you think of fearlessness, resilience,
empathy, and
he's incredibly dynamic.
Yeah.
Yes, he nails it.
And then the entire team at Clark Wardle. They have stuck with us, like they've allowed this to continue, and they are on the team. They show up for the meetings, they show up for the hearings, and they're boots on the ground with all of us. So, yeah.
Okay, I think last on our list is one
Yeah.
that I know you're excited to talk about.
I am.
He's been a longtime friend, confidant, supporter.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about Nick.
So Nick Guho and Guho Construction has been with Interfaith since its founding in 2005. This is 20 years of Nick Guho in his might. He helped to get the shelter kind of running. He donated a building in the very beginning to serve as a seasonal shelter. Then he helped us to buy the warehouse. He found it, and then he did all the construction to bring it to where it could actually shelter people with bathroom construction, things like that.
Just a few essentials.
And then throughout the years, just all of the generosity that he bestows upon the guests and the staff, it's crazy. And then he is the man that will, in fact, build the building that we will move into, hopefully in December. He is Nick Guho, and
he's always been there.
he has always
That's the
been
thing,
there.
right? So
Yeah, and it's not an easy relationship. We don't make anything easy, but he certainly he believes.
he's a force for good.
He's
in
a
our
force
lives.
for good.
Yeah. In our
absolutely.
lives for himself and his own professional endeavors, but when he brings that to us, we all benefit.
Oh yeah, I mean,
So great.
he's just a phone call away for everything. So I'm so excited. He is not a man that wants to be celebrated either. You find that a lot with the people that you want to celebrate. He really does like to quietly do his good work. But I was pretty adamant because it's 20 years of Nick, and like when better than now to be able to help tell the story. So we are excited. There's a lot of fun things kind of around that particular award. So I'm really excited about it. So yeah, it's jam-packed with good people.
Oh, it's amazing. And I would say we hinted at this, but behind this list of really good people are a lot of other great people. You know, that the
Totally.
organization,
Yeah.
the bank, the office, the support.
Yeah.
Their team.
Yeah.
We know that.
We know that.
But it will be nice to
Yeah.
have an evening where we celebrate good people doing good work.
Yeah. And you can be there.
And
you
you
guys
can be there.
The tickets are going to be on sale. The dress code is Boise nice, but wear your boots.
Yeah.
And then the auction, let's just touch on the auction and our artist who is directing this auction, Jody Miller, the wife of Casey Miller,
Yes.
the director of Word on the Web and in the band. Wow. So Jody has contacted some pretty amazing artists to paint boots for us that are going to be on auction. These are going to be one of a kind, unique, great, the kind of boots that are boots on the ground, and they're going to have artistic touches. And then our Homeless Art Collective is also doing some boots. So you can actually...
It's going to be fun.
It's going to be awesome.
gonna be great.
We won't even talk about the miniature furniture. We'll save
No,
that. Yeah.
no.
But there's miniature furniture in this too. So, yeah, I highly recommend that you guys come and meet the Freds and hang out with us.
Get inspired by the stories behind the Freds. And I think just listening to you again, even though I knew the list and I knew where we were going, I just feel inspired to stand up a little bit taller and just do a little bit better.
Right now, in these days where it can get pretty darn heavy, it is lovely to be in a room filled with people who are all doing good. And every person that attends the Fred, they are doing good.
Yeah.
So join us because you're doing good too.
Yeah. Okay, is there anything else that we haven't said about the Fred Awards that our audience should hear?
And if we didn't say it all, we've got a link that you can go to and you can click right on it. So we'll make sure to have that right below the episode.
Right.
Yeah.
We'd love to see you there. Thank you so much for dialing in and for watching.
And my guess is thanks for being a Fred.
Yes, exactly.
See you next week.
Okay, see ya.
Bye.